Hello friends, in this lecture, we're going to learn how to use jump nodes and play the take hit and die animations. Okay, so now we're going to play the die animation and the take hit animation using jump nodes. So first of all, let me create the one that we're going to use for die, and then I'm going to explain how this works. So to create a jump node, we're going to right click, click on jump. That's going to create the jump node. Then we're going to rename this to be jump die. We also need to create an animation state for the die animation. So we're going to right click, create a new animation state. Let's call this die. Double click. We're going to play the Krabby die animation here. We're also going to make this animation not loop, just like that. Let's save it, go back. And now we're going to connect the jump die node here to the die animation state. Awesome. So now I'm going to explain how the jump node works. The jump node is very similar to the out node we have here. At the start of the state machine, the out node here is called and it goes on to play the idle animation, and then it keeps on playing these animations. The jump node is similar, but it doesn't get called automatically. We have to call it manually ourselves. After we trigger the jump node, the flow of the state machine is going to go to the node, to the animation state that's connected to the jump node. So it's basically like a shortcut that we can call manually from code, and it's going to change the flow of the state machine to the jump node. So whatever the jump node is connected, that's what we're going to play. This is very similar to what we did with the attack animation using an override, but this time we can actually do it inside of the state machine. So that is how the jump node works. Now we're going to create one more for the take hit animation, and that is going to be your challenge. So go ahead and create and set up the jump node and the animation state for enemy take hit, just like I did for enemy die. Give it a shot and come back when you're done. Okay, we're going to right click here, create a new jump node. We're going to rename this to be take hit. Just like that. We're also going to create a new animation state, which we're going to call take hit. We're going to double click on it. In here, we're going to play Krabby take hit. And this is also not going to loop. We only want to play this once. We're going to connect it and then go back. Let's also not forget to connect the jump node to the take hit animation state. Awesome. So when the enemy takes a hit, we're going to jump to this node and then play the take hit animation. And when the enemy dies, we're going to jump to this node and then play the die animation. But after we take a hit, we want to go back to the main state machine here. So let's also create that connection. I'm going to move this one below take hit. Move this one up, just like that. And then I'm going to create a connection from take hit into idle, so that we can go back to the main animation. But for dying, it's fine because we don't want to, play the idle animation or the run animation after we die. We simply want to be stuck here in the die animation state. So we don't have to create a connection for this one. So let's go ahead and write the rule to go from the take hit animation to the idle animation. This is going to be different to the ones we did in the past. For this one, we're going to check if the take hit animation has completed playing or not. If it's completed, we can go into the idle. If not, we're going to stay in take hit. And to check this, we're going to right click, say get player, scroll down. Underneath paper ZD, there's a function called get player. This is going to return the player that's playing the animation. From this, we're going to get playback progress. This is going to return a floating point number that is going to be in between 0 and 1. And this is going to represent the progress of the animation that is currently being played. If it is 0, that means we're at the start of the animation. If it is 1, that means the animation is done. So we're going to say greater or equal to 1. In that case, the animation is complete, so we can simply connect the result of this like that. So if this is true, if the playback progress is 1, then we can go ahead and transition to the idle from take hit. If it is false, the take hit animation is still playing, so we should stay here. So that's going to be the rule here. Let's go back. And this is all we need to do here. The next step is going to be triggering these jumps from code when we take a hit or when we die. So let's save this, compile it, go into Visual Studio, and here inside of the enemy, we're going to trigger these jumps. First of all though, we need to include a header file here inside of the enemy so that we can actually access the animation instance. That is going to be paperzd anim instance.h. And now we can go into the take damage function, and instead of these comments, we can say get anim instance jump to node. If you take a look at the description of this function, it says changes current execution state and jumps to the given jump node name. The first argument is going to be the name of the jump, which is going to be fname. In this case, it's going to be jump die, because we're inside of this if statement. And the second argument is going to be the name of the state machine. If you only have a single state machine, you can leave this as empty, but just for educational purposes, let's say fname Krabby state machine, so that you know what to do if you have multiple state machines. This is going to trigger the jump node and then play the die animation state. For taking a hit, we're going to do the same thing, but this time for jump take hit. Great, this is all we need to do here. So let's go ahead and exit out of Unreal, make sure we save everything, rebuild the project, and then we're going to test this. So let's go ahead and test the game. When we attack the enemy, it should play the take hit animation, and then it should go back into the idle state. When we kill the enemy, it should go into the die animation state and stay there. It looks like everything is working just fine. Awesome. That's all I want to do in this lecture, so let's do a quick recap and then we can end it. In this lecture, we learned how to use jump nodes, which are shortcut nodes that we can place into the state machine and then jump to them whenever we want. Here we have the one for die, and here we have the one for take hit. This one is also connecting back into idle so that we can keep playing the idle and run animations after we take a hit. But this one, the one for die, doesn't connect because once we die, we don't want to go back into those animations anymore. So this is how to create and set up these jump nodes inside of the state machine. And then inside of our code, we learned how to trigger these jump nodes using the jump to node function. That's all we did in this lecture.